Hello, everyone, and welcome to Uncivil Law, where we learn through the misfortunes of others. As always, I hope you'll enjoy this legal education content, and today will be the day I earn that subscription. For today's story, we are dealing with accusations against yours truly of misogyny. And this is not the first time this has happened, and I feel like a lot of the time it happens, it's because people are not actually listening to the words I'm saying and considering what they're saying. They're looking at very superficially and getting the gist, but not the exact words. And if you actually look at what I'm saying, it's usually not what people perceive it to be. So I want to show this to be true. So Legal Bytes just did a stream earlier today where she was doing a bit of a super catch-up. And there was a question asked in the form of a super chat, which shows that there's a problem with listening comprehension. Shows people are not listening to what I'm saying precisely. So we're going to listen to what Legal Bytes said, and then we're going to go back to the original and show you what I actually said, because it makes a bit of a difference. All right, so here is a super chat catch up from Legal Bytes earlier today, where she addresses this point, and then I'm going to address it some further. So first of all, let's see what Legal Bytes had to say about the thing. So I'll bring up the volume. Let's listen to this.
Understands are comparing.
It would help if I changed the audio source so that you can hear it better. Let me do that. Great. Let's change that. Do that. Great.
Yeah, this one is, I'm very curious. Like I said before, I've looked into it a little bit before, but it's getting more and more interesting. Right. So yeah, it's one that has definitely come up in the last day or so, for sure. Soaring Kite says, Alita, how can you put up with Kurt's vulgar comments? Seriously, talking about a women's time of the month. How sexist can you get? Why do you continue to overlook this kind of behavior? So I will say, I'll address this, because I know that I've gotten a number of comments from people asking about Kurt in particular, some of the comments that he's made in the past. So for one thing, Kurt is a really great friend. He has been a really great friend throughout basically my entire time on YouTube. I first met him a year ago and some change. And he's always been a really great fellow YouTuber, fellow lawyer. He's always been very helpful to me. And he's proved to be a really good friend, even through some very hard times. So I will say that what I see as, I understand why his comments and his style is not necessarily for everyone. And I've also talked to him throughout some of the comments that he's made that I know that a lot of people react to on this channel. And the thing is that I have personal conversations with him offline about a lot of these comments and a lot about a lot of these things that he's said in the past. And he's always very receptive to it. So, a lot of people can be turned off by some of the stuff that he says, and I understand that. However, just because I'm not necessarily admonishing openly, publicly, or anything like that on the live stream in the moment, doesn't mean that I'm not having conversations with my various friends, if people are having a reaction to certain things. So, I get not everybody likes it, but some people do. Some people appreciate the fact that he's totally unvarnished. So my recommendation would be take his humor with a grain of salt. And he is who he is, right? He's very open about that. But at the same time, I understand. I understand these comments too. And
I don't, but we're going to get to why.
Have conversations about this kind of stuff all the time too. And he's also very, very respectful of the fact that, that not everybody on my channel really appreciates that style too. So anyhow.
All right. First of all, I just want to say thanks to Legal Bytes for her very kind words. We are good friends. I appreciate her commentary. I appreciate that she is showing me respect and all the rest of it. And she is a good friend of mine, and I appreciate it. But, what she might not have remembered, and I don't blame her. This is not a criticism, because she's dealing with, 8,000 things from so many different ways, right? And so she may not have remembered the exact context in which I said this. And she may not have remembered exactly what I was saying and what I wasn't saying, right? So, the suggestion here is that I was making a comment about a woman and saying like it's her time of the month and therefore she's an idiot or something like that, like some sort of sexist comment, right? This is the idea that I'm a misogynist. I mean, the idea behind the super chat is that I was saying something along these lines, right? It's a woman's time of the month. No wonder she's being an idiot, a moron, or whatever, right? Okay. So this is the idea behind the super chat. This is also why we want to go back to the original and show you how people are not listening or not hearing or not getting the sentiment of what I'm saying. So let's go back to the tape, shall we? So this is where this happened. This is in the Stepp versus Heard verdict, media fallout. It's at 1:20 or 1:12:20, as you can see on the timestamp yourself, right? As you can see on, okay, we are discussing at this point in the discussion, we are discussing the tweet thread from the Stanford law professor that I did a reaction to. Right, we're talking about that tweet thread, about her comments, all right? That is the context in which we are having the discussion. I'm going to now let you listen to exactly what I said, and so we can all play along at home with the listening comprehension, all right? Let's do that.
I know.
You're the misogynist in this thing. We were the Me Tooers.
I'm trying to prove myself as a female lawyer because it's, you know, of course this is a what is it? What did she say it was? It was, you know, me being a woman undermines my identity as a lawyer. You know, it just all the lawyer neurons get crossed because I'm a woman. You know, it's just a weird thing that happens because I've got a woman's brain. Like, doesn't that sound insane?
It's ridiculous.
I'm surprised that at this point that she didn't mention in that thing something about it being that time of the month influencing the decision making. I mean, the way that article's written, holy.
Well,
gosh.
it's insane. So anyhow, but getting back to Taylor Lorenz's article.
So you see, right? We're talking about the woman from Stanford's article or her tweet thread. All right. We're talking about her and what she was saying about women and lawyers. And Legal Bytes sets up the comment by pointing out, you know, like, oh, the woman's brain, all right? It's like, she's making fun of the article for the same reason I am. Oh, you know, it's my poor woman brain. Can't keep up with that, you know, that law business, that's for the men, not for my poor little woman brain, right? So that's why she's setting it up, right? And then I come back with the comment, at this point, I'm surprised in that article, or I should have said in that tweet thread, but at this point, I'm surprised in that article, she wasn't bringing up how it's that woman's time of the month and how that's influencing the thing with the being a lawyer. Because the whole thing was that the whole thing this professor was writing about, and we covered it on my channel, the professor was writing about how being a woman undermines the identity of being a lawyer. That was the Stanford lawyer's perspective. The identity of womanhood undermines the identity of being a lawyer. So Legal Bytes is making a riff about this, and then I come on top of it with, at this point, I'm surprised in that article, which I showed as a tweet thread, at this point, I'm surprised that she's not mentioning something about it being the woman's time of the month, and that being the problem influencing the lawyer. By just pointing out how dumb the Stanford comments were, and how dumb her sexism is. Like, I'm surprised is when we're already going to, you know, when we're already saying that, you know, the identity of a woman, this is the woman Stanford professor saying the identity of womanhood undermines being a lawyer. And I'm like, well, as long as we're at it, might as well throw in the time of the month thing, right? I'm not saying anything. I'm saying I'm surprised she didn't mention it because of how dumb and sexist her argument is. So this is like why this super chat towards Alita doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you can go listen to it yourself. We just played it. Am I saying in this that women are incapable because of the time month? No, I'm not saying anything like that. Listening comprehension, people. Pay attention to the words. Listening comprehension. I'm saying that we're talking about this article with this woman from Stanford who had written identities of women undermines their identities of lawyers. Legal Bytes makes a joke about it, about her poor, feeble, mental female brain making a joke of it. And then I'm like, well, as long as, you know, she's already throwing the women under the bus for being women, why isn't she just throwing the time of the month because of how stupid this is? And then people who apparently have problems with the listening comprehension come to this super chat that we saw. They come to this super chat where apparently what they're hearing is Kurt making a comment about the woman's time of the month as though I'm the sexist. Why is the listening comprehension this hard? Why is the listening and comprehension this hard? It's obviously not my viewpoint. I'm just, as long as we're going with these tropes, as long as we're writing these tropes about the being of the woman undermines being the lawyer, you know, as long as we're doing those tropes, then why not throw in the woman's time of the month thing as long as they're at it? I can't believe I have to explain this. But this is just another example where it's like I have to explain the thing. Okay? And as long as we're here doing the explaining of the thing, I'm once again going to explain the joke, which was apparently a huge issue of sexism and misogyny by me, which I continue to think is neither sexism nor misogyny. But we're going to explain the joke again, because I don't know. Explaining the joke always makes it better, right? So it's Camille Vasquez's cross of Amber Heard. Amber Heard finishes her direct on that Wednesday, I believe it was. And there's 2 hours left. There's 2 hours left in the day. Camille Vasquez starts to do the cross-examination. Camille Vasquez has been talking for about an hour and a half at the time I make the joke, right? So she's like an hour and a half into her cross-examination of Amber Heard. And I make the comment, the joke, and I say, quote, Camille Vasquez has to stop talking pretty soon. I can only get so hard, unquote. That was the joke. That was the joke. Now, I'd like to take note of a couple things. First of all, I believe that we should have consistent standards. So for all the people who are saying that's a misogynistic joke, I'd like to know where they were on the endless comments directed towards Rob about, I'd love to break the bed with you. You can break the bed with me anytime. Endless comments in Legal Bytes chat about this. With Rob from Law and Lumber. We can break the bed together anytime. Endless comments about this. I'd like to know where the pearl clutching was when the endless comments were happening with Rob. And we can break the bed together. Because surely we don't have double standards, right? It isn't because I make a comment that has some sort of sexual innuendo but everyone chat is making comments at Rob the Lunder. Surely we're treating these the same thing, right? So first of all, I'd like to know where the pearl clutching is, because I didn't see it. Okay? Second of all, people say I'm objectifying Camille Vasquez. I'm not objectifying her. Holy God. Listen to the words of the joke, people. Just listen to the words. Camille Vasquez has to stop talking pretty soon. I can only get so hard. Is that a comment about her looks? Is it a comment about her attractiveness physically? Is it a comment about her curves or the nice way that, her face or other body parts look? Is it objectifying her physically? No. The entire point of the joke, and I can't believe I have to explain this to people, the entire point of the joke is commenting about her words, her verbal skills, her talent as a lawyer, as an advocate. Camille Vasquez has to stop talking soon. What is the thing that's attracting me in the joke? The talking is. Her words. Her skills as a lawyer is the thing that's attracting me in the joke. Holy shit. So I'm not even objectifying her. I'm not saying, oh, look, she has to stop walking around in that pantsuit. I'm not saying, oh, she has to stop wearing that clothing. Oh, she has to having that pretty hair. She has to stop talking soon, because her skills as a lawyer when she talks are the point of the attraction. Holy God. Why do I have to explain this to people? And I thought it was generally considered a good thing to look at women and find them attractive for qualities such as their mind, their skill, their ability, right? This was the thing. Like, well, I assume men are still allowed to find women attractive. We're not supposed to be objectifying them, and I'm not objectifying her. I'm saying that she's an outstanding advocate. That's the point of the joke. Holy God, I can't believe I have to explain this. And people are still like saying, oh, it's misogynistic, it's sexist. It's neither misogynistic nor sexist. It is slightly, very slightly risque at best. And I'm sorry and all, but I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for the slightly risque joke that on the basis of I find her skill and her mind and her advocacy and her ability as a lawyer to be attractive qualities. Sorry, not sorry, especially when there appears to be absolutely no love lost in the chat over the I'd break a bed with you anytime Rob comments. It's all sorts of dumb. And I feel like a lot of the time when people are criticizing me or commenting on things, it's either they didn't understand the words I used or the context I used, because this super chat is premised on this. This super chat is premised on them not understanding the words I used. Listen with precision what I said, why I was saying it, in the context of why I was saying it. Listen to it with precision. Or the joke, which they don't understand because they don't understand the literal words coming out of my mouth. And it's not objectifying her. It's comment about her skills and advocacy and her brain. Wow. Listen to the words. And people say this is misogynistic. And I'm like, it's just not. It's just not. It is not misogynistic any more than it's sexism against men for the endless jokes against Rob. Incidentally, I don't have a problem with the endless jokes against Rob. I don't know whether or not Rob does. If he does, I don't know. He hasn't expressed it to me one way or another. I don't have a problem with it, so I don't have a double standard. I think the comments at Rob are fine. Maybe he doesn't like them. That's, his prerogative. I'm not going to speak for him, but me personally, I don't find them a problem. So I don't have a double standard. As far as I'm concerned, you can say, I'd like to break the bread with you, Rob. That's fine. And then you can also make the joke against Vasquez or with respect to Vasquez. It even isn't against Vasquez. It's just a joke about Vasquez or using her as subject matter. And they're both okay. I don't think either one is problematic. And so I refuse to apologize to the mob for the sake of apologizing to the mob. My personal position on the whole apologizing to the mob thing is I will apologize if I think I'm wrong, regardless of the mob. Because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I want to learn. This channel is about learning through the misfortunes of others. And if I make a mistake, I want to learn from that mistake. And I hope you do too. So if I make a mistake and the crowd calls me out, I correct myself. And if I don't think I'm wrong, I don't correct myself. And we've seen that behavior countless times before. We saw it throughout the entire Donnie Depp trial. We saw it throughout the entire thing where it's like, well, this is my position. This is how I'm analyzing Amber Heard. I have a tough time reading her, and the entire chat's like, oh no, you're horrible. I'm like, well, I'm not going to apologize to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, entire chat, that you have a different view than me, but I have a tough time reading her. I'm not going to apologize to you. This is my perspective. And then when my perspective changed from other evidence, I changed my perspective because the evidence changed. That's the thing. That's the thing. So, and then if the mob called me out and said, hey, you made a mistake, and I was like, oh yeah, you made a mistake, I'd correct the mistake. Right? I don't believe in bowing to the mob either way. If I had truly made a mistake and thought I had made a mistake, and I don't apologize because the mob is asking for it, I'm also bowing to the mob. This is my philosophy. Right? I don't want to bow to the mob. If I think I'm wrong and I think I should apologize, whether the mob asks for it or not is irrelevant. If I didn't apologize merely because the mob was asking for it, I'd be bowing to the mob. Right? If I refused to apologize even though I wanted to because the mob, I'd be wrong. And it's equally wrong to apologize because of the mob. So the mob is irrelevant to me. If I thought I was wrong, I'd apologize. I don't think I was wrong. I'm not wrong in this comment about the woman's time of the month because I was pointing out the absurdity of the tweet thread from the professor. I'm not wrong about the joke because I'm pointing out my attraction to her skill as an advocate, and I don't think and I'm not being a hypocrite about it. So, you know, all that good stuff. All that good stuff. So, yeah, I'm gonna sign off for now. And I'll answer a few super chats, I guess, before I sign off, because there were a few super chats. Erica says, I really felt the comments about Rob were terrible. It's obvious he was uncomfortable, wanted to stop. I don't know his position on it or not. I mean, he didn't express a position overtly, and he hasn't told one to me. So I'm not going to infer anything from his behavior. But then again, I have difficulty reading people. Right? So I have difficulty reading people. So, like, I'm not going to infer anything from the way that Rob behaved, because I have difficulty reading people. And he hasn't said anything, so I'm not going to infer anything. Consistency in Uncivil Law. Adam Trapp says, are you mansplaining what jokes are? I guess. A little bit, yeah. And Andrew said, one difference worth parsing is your comments about Vasquez was relatively a private one. Rob was actually seeking comments. Rob has actually seen the comments being said about him. Well, maybe that's a difference, maybe not. I mean, I shouldn't feel embarrassed about whether the joke is seen by Vasquez or not. I mean, that shouldn't really... I mean, I don't know whether that's a difference worth noting, but okay. And Rubia says, I misunderstood you that day on Vasquez. Cringed a bit, but it wasn't that big a deal. Not that big a deal enough to talk about, to be honest. I tend to agree that it's really not that big a deal enough, but, like, you see a super chat like this coming into Legal Bytes today, and it's not the first time someone has put pressure on Legal Bytes to basically cancel me, and cancel me on the platform. And so, like, I'm just responding to this because, you know, people are trying to make a deal out of this. And, you know, I have a sense of humor, and if you don't like the joke, but, like, I'm not going to apologize for the joke, for it being slightly risque. I mean, you know, come on. Yeah, Schnuckit says they call Rob Wood Daddy. Yeah, where is the pearl clutching at the Wood Daddy comments? You know, show me the pearl clutching and then we'll talk, right? And, like, he does blush a lot. You're right. I just don't know what that means. Because I have difficulty reading people, so I don't know what that means. So it might mean he's embarrassed. It might mean a lot. I don't know what it means. I don't know. So, yeah. So I'm going to sign off for now. If you've been enjoying... yeah. You rewind back to the beginning. You can rewind. That's fine. Yeah, they can't take a joke. And I don't think it's wrong to tell joke. I am certainly not willing to accept the premise that a joke that involves women in some way is necessarily misogynist. That seems insane. Like, it's saying that a joke that involves men in some way is misandrist. And that's equally insane. Like, jokes that in some sense involve men are not inherently misandrist. Jokes that in some sense involve women are not necessarily misogynist. Jokes that even put women in bad light are not inherently misogynist. Jokes that inherently put men in bad light are not inherently misandrist. This seems a very odd these seems like very odd propositions to my mind, right? So it's like, yeah. And I like my sense of humor. It works for me. If people don't like it, you know, that's fine, but I don't have a problem with women. I think women are great. I think Legal Bytes is a great legal commentator. You know, I appear on her channel quite a lot. You know, I think that she's doing great work. I don't have a problem with her as a commentator. In fact, I quite like her energy. And I like Emily D. Baker's energy for the same reason. It's a bit foreign to me. But it appeals to a part of me that it's like lacking. It's like I kind of like it because it's something I don't have. American Legend says, do not bend the knee and never apologize. Yeah, I slightly disagree with this philosophy, as I was expressing. Like, I'll apologize if I think I'm wrong. I think it's a mistake to apologize. I think it's a mistake to have the mob force you into action either way. If you don't think you're wrong, I think it's a mistake to apologize to the mob. But I think the reverse is also true. I think if you do believe you're wrong, not apologizing to the mob because the mob is the one asking for it is also the mob controlling your actions, right? If I really thought an apology was warranted, and I would apologize, and the only reason I'm not apologizing is because the mob is asking for it, and I don't want to seem like I'm capitulating, I am in fact capitulating. I'm capitulating to their demand by not giving it to them, even though I want to, because I think I'm wrong. So I think the correct way to phrase this is just by doing what you think is right. If I thought the mob was right, I'd apologize to them. Not because they're asking for it, but because I thought I was wrong. And if I don't think they're right, I won't do that either, because I don't think they're right. So, you know, all that stuff. So, yeah. And yes, it's in Legal Bytes. It's just asking, is her response okay? Yeah, her response is fine. She just texted me, yeah, her response is fine. And she didn't remember the specific content or context of my comment. And that's not a slight on her. I mean, how could she? She has so many different things going through her head. I mean, she's only one woman. She can only have so many things going through her head at once. Like, that she would remember exactly the context in which I used this specific... I was like, I remember because I was the one who said it. But, like, so I don't have any problem with Legal Bytes' response. I thought it was perfectly fine. She didn't remember the specific context as like I do. The context is, like, I was pointing out how absurd and how sexist this woman was. And people were like, well, you're the sexist. I'm like, I'm really not. Pinky Pink says, as a woman, I don't care. You do you. Love from Norway. Well, thank you. Yeah. So I just thought, you know, I'd explain all this, and I'm going to continue doing me. And if you like my humor, great. And if don't, great. And I'll continue apologizing as I feel warranted, because I want to learn and do better. And when I make mistakes, I make mistakes. And then hopefully I learn and I don't make them as much. And that's my stance on the whole thing. So I'm going to sign off for now. Yeah. Lauren says, I totally understand that you were saying the other lawyer may as well have said, is it that time of the month? You're pointing out the absurdity of such a comment. Exactly. Right. That was my point. Right. Exactly. I was saying the other lawyer might as well have said this because of how absurd their comments are. And then suddenly, it's like I'm the one saying the comments, instead of pointing out that that's basically her comment. I'm getting tagged because people have a listening comprehension problem. People have a listening comprehension problem. Bev's Fry Bread Wisdom says, I was listening live that day. You did nothing wrong at all. This is my view as well. I mean, I don't think I'm misogynist. And if I tell a joke that in some sense involves a woman, I don't think it makes me a misogynist any more than a joke that in some sense involves a man inherently makes it misandrist. I think that's incredibly stupid. I that's what I think. So, Stephanie says, yeah, she don't tolerate that shit. Exactly so. And Stephanie knows. Stephanie knows. And she like keeps you on sacks. And yeah. Monikin says, cancel culture is getting out of hand. Yeah. I mean, people keep trying to cancel me from Legal Bytes. Well, some people do. It's not like a huge thing, but every once in a while, you get a comment or a super chat like this. And people are trying to cancel me from Legal Bytes. And it's annoying because Legal Bytes is my friend. So, yeah. And she's not going to, incidentally. So you can stop trying. Yeah. So the whole thing is a little bit dumb. Yeah, staying in integrity is good, right? I'll apologize if I think I'm wrong. I make mistakes. I make them all the time. Sometimes I make legal mistakes. Sometimes I make factual mistakes. Sometimes I make an ill-advised comment or an ill-advised joke. It happens. Sometimes I apologize for it. Like a human being. But my sense of humor, it's like, yeah, I still think it's funny. I still think it's a good joke. Even though I've had to explain it, I still think it's a good joke. Stephanie says they can bite her shiny metal ass. I tend to agree. For sure. Exactly so. What did Super Chat say? I'll put it back on screen. You can read it yourself. And we did a whole analysis of it. Like, we listened to Legal Bytes defend me, which was appreciated. I really appreciate her comments, and I appreciate her friendship. And we listened to the original context in which I made the remarks, and we listened to exactly why I was using them and how stupid it is the Super Chat is. So it's like, it doesn't, Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to sign off for now because that's really all I had to say. I didn't even have 30 minutes worth of stuff to really say, so I'm going to sign off for now. We'll be on later with some more stuff. I just wanted to make a response video because apparently there's a listening comprehension problem among some people who listen to Legal Bytes or something. And I thought I'd be like, listen harder and, listen to words that with more precision and stuff. I'm going to sign off for now. Until later, my friends. A guy says I'm overthinking this. I might be overthinking it, but then again, that's the trait of lawyers. Yeah, well. Oh, well. That's interesting, too, because my mom always said I was overthinking all the time. My mom has criticized me most of my life for overthinking. I don't know if criticize is exactly the right word, but she's always like, you're always thinking so much, always thinking. And like, have you ever tried thinking less? And I'm like, but I like it. I like the feeling of thinking. I like the feeling of pushing my mind to its limit. I particularly like the feeling where I feel like I have to push my intellect up or push my IQ up. It's one of the reasons that like I like really sophisticated like Supreme Court arguments or really sophisticated philosophical arguments where I feel like I have to notch myself up like and push above my maximum capacity and push my intelligence to a higher level and really burn out my intelligence to really ramp it up to try to play in that higher space. I like that feeling. And so yeah, overthinking is my vice, man. So it's not stopping ever. I'm gonna sign off for now. I hope all's well. Cheers and goodbye.